G'day guys, how's it going? My name is CJ and today we're going to have a look at the Nintendo Switch, the newest console handheld hybrid wonder kid on the block. I've loved Nintendo since forever. I've always had a gaming device of theirs in one way, shape or form ever since the original Game Boy. I've even owned the controversial Wii U. Despite this, you don't need to be a genius to see that Nintendo has been struggling as of late. So, does the Switch have what it takes to regain the confidence of fans and capture the imagination of newcomers? Let's have a look. To start off with, the box is pretty sleek. It's smaller than your PS4s and Xboxes, but that's to be expected given the fact that it's a handheld device. Opening it up, you see the bare essentials to getting you started. There's the Switch itself, which is smaller than I expected, and the Joy-Cons, which definitely are smaller than what I was expecting. Now straight away, holding them in my hands, the Joy-Cons definitely feel small, and it'll be interesting to see how it feels to use them during a prolonged period of time. That's also given the fact that I don't exactly have the biggest hands around either. But despite their size, they feel really solid and the soft touch plastic also feels quite good in the hand. The Switch itself is a 6.2 inch slate that kinda reminds me of the old Nexus 7 or the Amazon Fire tablet. Like the Joy-Con, it has a soft touch plastic case and it feels solid in the hand, and it's not that heavy either thanks to its plastic construction. It uses USB-C, which is awesome, and it also has micro SD expansion behind the flimsy kickstand on the back. The game card slot sits on the top right hand corner of the Switch. Looking at it, it looks like an SD card, but is just a fraction thicker than a conventional card. The Joy-Cons slip and click into place quite nicely, and I emphasize the click because Nintendo has nailed the general feel of the console so far. Putting that aside, underneath you get the rest of the accessories, starting with a pair of Joy-Con wrist straps. Then you have the Joy-Con comfort grip. And this one's different to the charging grip that you can buy in stores separately. The comfort grip doesn't give you the option of charging the Joy-Con separately, so you have to connect it to the Switch in order to do that. Next you have a slither of documentation, a HDMI cable, the USB-C power adapter, and finally the dock. And actually, one underrated feature of the dock is the plastic flip cover that hides the ports and also gives you some little bit of cable management. So let's talk about some of the positives. So first off, compared to the Wii U, I can't help but think that the Switch is really what the Wii U should have been. It was always a little flawed in one way or another. The biggest difference that I can see is that the Switch has the ability to be a truly handheld device without needing to be tethered to a stay-at-home console. Being able to play console quality games on the go is incredibly exciting and for me is one of the biggest draws to buying into this ecosystem. Next is USB-C. Nintendo has been on Apple levels of notorious for using proprietary ports on their consoles. So for Nintendo to go completely anti-Nintendo is really refreshing and awesome for the consumer. Now that the world is quickly moving into USB-C, you can use the versatility of USB-C to keep you gaming. I've used the Pixel's charger, my MacBook's charger, even the old Galaxy Note 7's charger, just to keep the juice going when I'm away from the TV. That being said, it actually requires a decent voltage to keep it charged whilst playing, but at a stretch you can use the conventional phone charger to quickly get your juice up when it's asleep. Not to mention, the USB-C port means that you can use power banks to keep you charged on the go. The screen is crisp despite being a 720p resolution, and it gets plenty bright for use outdoors. If you wanted to come back indoors and then switch back to the big screen, it's as easy as slipping the Nintendo Switch into the dock and it seamlessly projects the game onto the TV in full resolution. It's kind of amazing how quick and easy it is. And finally, I touched on it earlier, but the overall fit and finish of this device is next level. The Joy-Cons click satisfyingly into place, and whilst the joystick is on the smaller side, It and the rest of the controls on the Joy-Con is really solid, and I don't have any fears that it'll wear down anytime soon. The same I can't really say about the PS4 controllers, whose thumb grips wore out like no tomorrow, and I had to swap them out for some aftermarket metal ones instead. Now, despite the positives, there are a few niggling issues. The first one is battery life. It's average to okay at 3 to 5 hours of play. For the hardcore gamer who loves to have 5 to 6 hours straight gaming sessions, this is going to be a big issue. The only real scenario I can see this being a real problem is if you're on a long haul flight. Otherwise, for the average person, it'll be more than enough for the daily commute and for a spot of casual gaming every now and then throughout the day. The next issue I have is with the dock, and more specifically the lack of any soft microfiber cloth or protective material along the front side of the Switch where you slide it in. The screen itself is protected by plastic, so by putting an already scratch prone surface against another hard surface, you're simply asking for it to get damaged. Even though the plastic sides in question don't actually go on top of the active part of the screen itself, no one likes to pick up their shiny new gadget one day to discover that there are scratches all over it. And finally, the last thing that concerns me is the catalogue of games. Zelda Breath of the Wild is an amazing game. It's probably my favourite recent Zelda game for a long time. But aside from that, there really aren't many other titles to write home about. Mario Kart won't be here until April, and an actual Mario game won't be around until closer to December. Sure, there are a few indie titles that you can check out in the meantime, but in terms of proper feature titles, the Switch really is running low. Breath of the Wild can and probably will take up most of your time. I know it will take up most of my time in the next few months, purely because I love exploring big open worlds. But then when the game is over, then what? For me, it's not that big of a deal because I've bought into console gaming systems simply for a few small titles. Any other games on top of that, to me, is just a bonus. But for many others, this is a real consideration considering you're going to be dropping upwards of 500 Australian dollars for this system, and that's not even including accessories. So, from first impressions, should you buy into this system? If you're already a Zelda fan and you love the Nintendo exclusive titles, chances are you've probably already bought this system. For others, you need to think about whether or not portable gaming is something you really want. Then you got to consider the price, the lack of titles, and also the fairly dubious online gaming system. All of these factors put together might put you off from buying the Switch until it's matured a little bit more. And I think that's a very reasonable thing to do. But for me, as a Nintendo and gaming fan, there really are no other devices out there that can play blockbuster titles at console level quality on the go. Anyway, that's been it. Do you own a Nintendo Switch? Let me know why or why not in the comments section below. If you like this video, be sure to smash the like button. If you haven't already, do consider subscribing. Thanks for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Say good day, Mum, for me. Cheers.